Well, I followed a lot of YouTube instructions and pulled the radiator out. Probably the hardest part was getting the lower hose off. It's pretty stiff, probably needs a new one. And there sits the radiator. Now you can see that the front end's a little bit up off the ground. Here was the shock. Can you see how little coolant I got out of this thing? That's really shocking. Yes, I know it's tilted up and I know that'll affect it some, but theoretically if it's completely full, you'll get some out of the radiator. You can see I got a little on the ground. There's no water in this thing. Now, it was full 2 days ago. Yeah, it boiled a little out, but not very much. My theory is this thing is so plugged that it holds like a pint of water, like half a quart maybe. That's my theory, and we'll prove that out when I get one of the tank ends off. And I'll bet it's plugged miserably. I don't know how to tell if this is a factory tank or not. There's a label right there. Don't know what it means, but this thing is absolutely toasted, I believe. Well, here's the back side of the radiator. There's a little bit of accumulation between that and the condenser core for the air conditioning, just a little bit. So, not as bad as it could be, but certainly not the reason that it's overheating so horribly. So, time to take one of the tanks off. There's something I didn't expect. That doesn't look like aluminum. In fact, they don't usually paint aluminum. They usually paint brass radiators. 1988. Could this be original equipment? Look at that. That ain't plastic, my friends. Jeez, look at that. That's brass. These end tanks are brass, the radiator's brass. I'm sorry, not the tank, but the end piece here. That's brass. I see a little sign right there on that corner, right here. Telling you, man, it's brass. Holy cow. Look at that. All be dipped. Alright, the radiator's out, and not only that, the tank is off of one end. And I made this tool for prying, and this end of the tool for straightening the tabs. So that and a screwdriver got them off. You don't want to pry against the tank if you can help it. So what we have here is 6 062 welding rods. I stuck them in one at a time. This slot was completely plugged shut, almost at the other end, and maybe you can see. No, you really can't. It's a little bit plugged up through here. Not horrible. Could be a lot worse. But, and this here is a transmission dipstick. See there? So, I'm going to go through with this first because it goes in real smooth. It's not quite as thick. And let's see what I can get done. And then put these in, because these rods fill the tube really, really solidly. A lot of times, these are worse than I've got here. Now, the one thing that was a huge surprise, I don't know if you can tell, this is a brass radiator with plastic end cap. You see that shiny brass right here? It's frickin' brass. The whole thing's brass. It's painted black. That should have been my first hint, but it's brass. So I think it's original 1988 radiator. So anyway, here's how you do it. Here's how you rod it out. Let's bring you out a little bit. Okay. This is a lot easier to put through, so I'm trying to just kind of rough it out. And then, like I said, I'll run all the 062s through. Oh, I felt something there. So anyway, this is pretty much how you do it. Getting it back on is another story. We've got a gasket here, got to take it out, clean it. I couldn't find any new ones. I'm sure somebody has them online, but some high temperature silicone will seal it up just fine. eBay has new radiators for 70 bucks, and I suppose that would probably work just fine. I just haven't rodded one out in a long time. I used to take apart old Chrysler radiators, unsolder them, and fix them up, and rod them out, and put them back together. I've never done a crimp-on style plastic tank before. Oh, there we go. That one's got a little at the bottom there. You can hear me tapping on the other tank. This is a 31-inch core, so you have to have fairly long tools for this. This was the shortest one of all the dipsticks I got, and I had to grind the end off because it was, you know, it had a twist on it and all this fancy shit, and you don't want it that way. You want it dead flat. Anyway, it's working like a charm. I'm not going to bore you guys until I find something for these to do when I get all these done once with the transmission dipstick. So we'll be back. Alright, so I ran all of these with the dipstick, and that came out pretty good. I had one right here that was really hardcore plugged shut, and I got it rodded out with the dipstick. Now I got to do it with these monsters. I bet a 90 on them so I could grip them easier. So I'm gonna move these over, like, I don't know, can I move all these together at the same time?
Mike, turn on the blower.
Alright, so what I did, as I explained a second ago before I was interrupted, is I put a 90-degree bend in all these so I can pull them out evenly. Okay, there's two there. There's two there. And you just drop them in. They're not at the same height by a mile right now, but you can get them at the same height as you get them close to the bottom here. There we go. One thing I need to do is I need to be pouring water down and flush all this out the bottom, and I'll do that. Oh yeah. Okay, you see how that works? Alright, so I don't know. If you can get one on eBay for 70 bucks, what do you do? Do you do it the easy way? Or do you save the money? Auto parts stores, my auto parts store is 106 plus tax. Oh yeah, I can feel that go through too. Sometimes it'll clog part of a tube. Just a little bit of it. And I can feel that break through at the bottom. Okay. I probably should pull the other tank off, but in the past when I've done this I didn't. Okay, so I got two that don't want to go. So you start these and those. I don't know if you can see the little nibs sticking up on the corners. That's actually excess solder from when this thing was manufactured, because it's brass. Okay, now the problem is all these are twisted here. So alright, we got all this. Yeah. Oh yeah, this tube is plugged. Good. There we go. Oh, that was plugged real good. plugged like a mother. So this tube was plugged completely shut on the far end. There we go. Now, let's see if we can get this last rod in here. Perfect. Alright, well this tube was plugged almost all the way across. So I got it all in. Let's see how many are there, 6 of them? Good thing I bought 7 rods. So let's see, that makes like 4 tubes so far that were plugged shut. That one might have been, no, this one up here was the worst. When I get to that with these, that one's gonna suck. It's not gonna be easy. So there you go. 062, our 1/16 cheapest welding rods you can get. They're copper coated and they work like a charm. All right, I'll be back when I get some more done.